Whew, it is a hot one out here today, guys. Welcome back to another video. And no, we're not doing a bike check. That will be in a later video this coming week. I'm shooting how to manual 180. This is the second time I'm actually shooting this video because I went to edit the video and the drone clips had no audio. And I didn't really want to dub audio over top of the drone clips and kind of half-ass it. I wanted to make it true and genuine and the best quality for you guys. So we're going to shoot that video again right now, how to manual 180 the proper way. I want to say the easiest way as well. If you're not familiar with how to 180 in general, a link in the description would take you there. If you're not familiar with how to manual in general, a link in the description would take you there. And after you're done watching that, you can come back to this video and we are going to teach you how to manual 180. And I'm pretty sure that by the end of this video, you should be able to manual 180. Actually, I'm pretty confident by the end of this video, with the way that I'm gonna teach you, you will have a manual 180 locked in, and that is for sure. But before we get started, I wanna let you know the best area is an open parking lot like you see behind me right here. Actually, we have a bunch of cones. We'll probably use these as little obstacles to kind of gauge our manual 180, at least the beginning portion, and kind of show you the half moon effect that I usually use to learn to the manual 180. So let's set this up, get the drone in the air, and get started. All right, since the last video, I painted my bike and now it's all together. A bike check will be coming up later in the week, and be sure to check back in and see all the new parts I added to this bad boy. I'm really stoked on the whole setup and the color scheme, and usually I switch out the colors of my bike because I feel like when you have a new setup like this, it just makes you feel good and refreshed about riding again. So we are going to go over here and use a couple of these cones to our advantage. All right, the first cone I'm going to use to my advantage is going to be this end one. I'm going to put this end one in the middle. You can use any obstacle. Put this bad boy in the middle, and what the point of this is you're going to ride a circle around your object. All right, riding a circle around it is going to then make it easier for you when you're pulling up the manual. So as I'm turning, we're pulling up our manual like that. A lot of you guys might be wondering, well, how do you steer? How do you steer when you're manualing to be able to get that 180 motion? And that's in the knees. It can't be in the handlebars, because when your front wheel is up in the air like this isn't going to make you turn because your back wheel's on the ground. So you need to rely on your knees to shift left to right, all right? And that's going to manipulate your back wheel to turn in the direction that you want to go. So we'll go around. We spot an area. I always find it easier to go a little wider. And you pull up and you're going around it kind of wide. And having this is going to really help you with the initiating for the actual 180 out. So we'll use these same cones as an example. I'll use my knees to steer me through them. I'll come around using my knees to turn me through them all. That right there is going to help you and basically help you train to do that the manualing maneuver effect that I'm going to teach you a little bit later in the video with a slight bit of a loop out. You understand what I'm talking about, the loop out method in a moment. Basically what I do when I first want to try the first manual 180, before I do that, I make sure I can do a 180. And after that, you want to try to do a 180 almost at a dead stop. Not necessarily a two-tire hop, but you come to a dead stop and you pull up your front wheel. That right there is going to be the exact same pull-up pop for the manual 180. Let's do what I would call a half moon. So it'll be a half moon turn pull-up, which will then have your body leaning. In order to get that 180, it's going to be tricky. You know, you're gonna put either the front wheel down or your foot down. You have to trust the loop out. You basically have to pull up, and as you're steering with your knees to get ready to do that same 180 you did at a real slow pace, you want to loop out so that it puts your front end up high so you can just kick that body weight back around. You're going to use your feet to kick that body weight back around. It's not really too much in your upper body. All right, so we'll do a pull up real quick. This will be the first half moon. As you can see, I use my body weight and let it loop out, because that loop out, if you don't and you let that front end, if that front end gets too low, it's going to be so hard for you to maneuver your bike around. You want that front end kind of high at the end point. You can keep it low when you're actually manualing, but you want it to be kind of high right about here so that when you go to do the loop out, you want to be like whop, and it brings you around. It's like that loop out's going to pressure you around. You can go at your own pace. You don't have to go fast, don't have to go slow. Turn, pretty straightforward. And you don't have to go as little of a turn. So like, I know a lot of you who might be watching this might want to just be like, have your mindset and you're like, oh, I want a manual 180 off this ledge that's like 1.5 feet wide. We'll get there, that'll be the next step. So what you do in order to gauge yourself up to that, you'll find obstacles like this. The goal is to go through this narrow way right here and be able to manual through it in 180 at the end. That's the goal. So what I normally do is I come through here, that half moon, and what you can do is tighten up that space more and more, or you can try to go less and less of a turn going into it, which that's what I'll try now. I'll try to go less and less of a turn. We'll try to go straight onto it. And you just see that? You see how I looped out? And that loop out was that same like power move that you use right at the end to be able to get that extra oomph around. What we'll do is we'll tighten this gap up a little bit. So now that we tighten that gap up a little bit, we will do the same thing. I'll do that same half moon through. That's usually like a good safety. Come at it from the side. And the same thing, you want to do that same loop out. We'll do it one more time right now, a little more straight on. And that's basically it as far as the loop out method. So the things you want to take away from this before we take it to an obstacle, you want to make sure you do the half moon. So you can go more, you basically could do a circle. You can ride around in a circle many times you want and pull up eventually, and then try to 180 out of that quick pull up. And then gradually try to manual further and further in that circle, or try to take that circle wider and do a half moon and pull up and coast it to 180 out. These obstacles were good. Let's take it over there. With this is you want to try to know your speed first, 180ing off a curb. And if you've never 180'd off a curb, today you're gonna learn, because this is where the manual 180 comes in handy. Manual 180 is one of those tricks where you want to do it on this type of setup. So right now we'll see the curb, I'll look at it, I'll see the speed I want to take at to 180. And I know the speed I want to take at it. We can gauge it again just to make sure where I know I want to do the little half moon pull up to be able to get the 180. So we'll do another 180. And it works out, it's good, that's a good one. I probably should let you know that I usually carry a little bit more speed when I'm doing a manual 180 off of a curb, because I want to make sure my front wheel, has the distance away from the curb so I'm not casing it. So basically you want to do it at your own pace. Not to say you can't do it when you're going slow. It's just a lot easier once you have a controlled one with a little bit more speed. So let's do the same thing we taught you out there. Basically like a half moon coming up to the curb. You're going to pull up maybe 3 or 4 feet before it, just to kind of like do that little loop out power through and onto the asphalt. Come at it from an angle, see where you want to pull up here, and a 180. So basically you can do that as many times as you need to, because at the end of the day, the steering portion, getting yourself set up as you're going towards that, is going to be the hardest part. Remember, that steering's in your knees. Left to right motion with your knees is going to make it easier for you to be able to do this. Let's do it again, pull up, 180 around. I'm gonna go a little bit slower this time, and I must pull up a little bit earlier, see if we can make it past that curb. See, that same thing, I did that loop out. That loop out is what helped me be able to get that pop up and away from it. Now, the only thing other to do now is basically you try to go further and further away from the curb. But to make it to where you guys don't have to suffer through me just going further and further, we're just gonna make it like an epic manual. I'm gonna start here, go all the way down the sidewalk, around, come back, and 180 off. So this one might prove to be a little bit challenging, since I haven't ridden in 3 months basically, except for around the neighborhood with my daughter. Take up some speed. So I'll be really shocked if I get this first go. I'm gonna use my knees to turn right here. Coming on that last straightaway. Make sure nobody's coming. Damn, that felt good. That felt good. One of my favorite tricks. There's like no better of a feeling than feeling like you're out of control, about to loop out, and somehow you land rubber side down. Woo, it is a hot one, guys. Man, so hot that my drone started to overheat and I had to land it, put it in the air conditioner in my car for a couple of minutes, toss it back up in the air. But I really hope you're able to take something from this How to Manual 180 video and make it your own. Add your own little style to it. Basically pull something from this video to help you along with the trick. If you guys have any other suggestions for future videos like this, like how-tos, will it ride, session videos, if you want to see that bike check, drop a comment below. If you guys like this video, drop a like. If you love it, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.